My husband did something really stupid. He admitted to his affair, and the only reason that he did was because he went out and had a bunch to drink. And when he came home, he fell asleep, but then he woke up and starts admitting to everything. Obviously, he wasn't in his right mind, but that doesn't stop him from what he said. Guys, the details of this affair go so deep, but let me just tell you, it's messed up, and it has to do with my sister. I've always trusted my husband a lot, but lately things have changed, and my gut keeps making me suspicious. He hasn't directly done anything to make me feel like this, but I do feel like he's seeing someone, or at least is attracted to someone. I feel like he's losing his love for me, and there's something that I can do to confirm, but I'll have to break a promise I made. And if I'm wrong, I will have to live with the guilt of doing it. So I'm not really sure, so let me provide context. My name is Nell, 36, female, and before all this, I actually was really happy with my marriage. I've been married to Carl for 4 years, and I love him a lot. If my gut isn't true and nothing is going on, then I'll love him and stay with him forever. But if something is really going on, which I hope isn't true, he will regret playing me like that. I'm not very suspicious or jealous. I've never been like that, but lately, Carl has been acting very different. His behavior towards me has especially changed, and it's like he's slowly pulling away from me. And this cannot be something I'm imagining. That's why I'm even considering breaking the promise. When Carl and I started dating, he was only working small jobs while I was in a great position. At that point, I don't mind because he worked hard and I earned enough. Also, I knew that he slowly wanted to move up and had the determination and the ability to do so. Carl seemed like the perfect guy to me. He loved, cared about me a great bit, and did not care much about other things. He didn't care what people thought of him, which is so cool, and was a very kind person. It was only since the start of this year that I started noticing a change in him. I had to fight my whole family to marry Carl. To my parents, he was as good as unemployed, and they did not care how much he loved me. But I managed to convince them because I knew that in the future, Carl would find a better job. And even if he didn't, I could take care of both of us. In the end, my parents had to agree, as at that point I was kind of their only daughter. They had stopped speaking with my sister because of a fight, and anyways, I got married with Carl, and believed that it was happily ever after for me, well, not so much. I had normal problems that the average person has to go through, but I was still very happy. Towards the end of the last year, Carl even found a great job and started earning a good amount of money. The day he came back from his other job, he had bought me a favorite dessert of mine. He told me that he had gotten the job he worked so hard to get, and we celebrated all night long. I sometimes think of that night because I haven't felt that much love for him since. From the start of this year, things became a bit different. Carl did not exactly change, but I could feel that he had something going on. When I asked him, he just said it was nothing to worry about or made excuses. I let it go as I felt that he had handled enough and he has to go with it by himself. Plus, Carl never liked making me worry, so I would focus on my own work and just tried my darndest to support him. But slowly, I started getting the feeling that he didn't just treat me the same way he used to. Those little kisses he gave me, or how he always hugged me, or how he even looked at me, he slowly stopped doing all of these things. I'd say the worrying thing for me was that he wasn't even doing these things by choice. Oh no. In the first place, it was more like, how do I say this, an action out of love? But now his body has stopped unconsciously doing it, making me believe that he's not attracted to me as he was before, or he just stopped loving me. It also didn't help that he spent long hours in the office and had to even stay out sometimes. When I asked him anything, he always told me I need to worry about it. Never. Well, when I would mention that I didn't feel loved, he would blame it on work and pretend to care about me for a bit. But later, he would go back to his original self. No matter how much I tried to ignore it, I couldn't. And I started getting suspicious of him. It also didn't help that my best friend Layla even now believes that he's cheating. Although I would be lying if I said my gut is not telling me the same thing. I do believe Layla's right. When I spoke with my sister Jill about it, she told me I was losing my marbles. She felt Carl was exactly the same and I needed to stop thinking about stuff like that. So I spoke with Layla and she was fully sure that he was cheating and that I needed to monitor him. But I told her that my Carl would never cheat. as he's not the type of person to do that, but Layla convinced me to at least think of it as a possibility. Now, I've been thinking about all this for over 2 months, and one day I saw Carl sitting in a restaurant with a very beautiful woman. Looking back, they weren't doing anything suspicious, but at that point my brain was not working well. As soon as I saw them, I completely lost it because I believed that he was sleeping with this person and he loved her. Yes, that was a crazy thing to assume, but you have to look at it from my perspective. I've been thinking he was cheating on me for a long time, and as soon as I saw him sitting down and holding hands, my brain stopped working. I'm not going to tell you much about it because it's the most embarrassing thing I've ever been through. I went to their table and made a huge scene and publicly called out Carl for cheating. He could not believe it and begged me to calm down. I slapped him. I then found out that the woman was just a client and she had to choose a restaurant to talk at, which was unusual but did happen from time to time. Allegedly. So the coworkers confirmed it, and at that point I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole. I apologized to everybody, especially the client, and Carl ran home. He didn't speak to me for a week. After that, I promised to never doubt him again. But now, 2 months later, I cannot stop thinking that he might be cheating again. When he was giving me the cold shoulder 2 months ago, I noticed that the amount of love I felt was the same. Everything was literally the same when he was ignoring me. For the past several months, we have only been in 3 dates, and every time it's been forced upon me, really. It's like he was just completely stopping of the caring, and is forced to live with me. Even after everything that happened, Layla's still sure that he's cheating, and I just happened to make a mistake. Every time she says that, I ask her to stop, but I feel the same. He has no love left for me, and I just don't know why. The thing is, I have to find out, and I do have a way. After dating Carl for a while, I found out a very weird thing he does. When he gets drunk, to a certain point where he's not able to use his brain but doesn't black out, he cannot lie. Back when we were first dating, we used to drink a lot, and one day I noticed it and kept testing until I was sure. Obviously, I told him about it and he already knew, but he made me seriously promise to never, ever take advantage of it. And that's exactly what I needed to do. But I feel really bad even thinking about doing it. I've already been proven wrong once. If I get proven wrong again, guys, he might leave me. Update number 1. It's been a week, and I ended up doing it. Yes, I broke the promise and got my husband drunk enough to tell the truth. I should have listened to the people who told me not to do it. I regret doing it because what I found out is unbelievable. But I also know that it cannot be a lie, let me tell ya. So, a few days after my post, I decided that I could not live without knowing the truth. I believed that if Carl had done anything, he would not get too mad at me for taking advantage of him, especially when I would tell him how I was feeling and how I was convinced that he didn't love me anymore. I thought that even if I had a good reason, he would understand and feel bad about making me feel like that and forgive me. So I decided that doing it was a good idea because I could not live in suspense like that. So, a few days ago, I asked my husband to go out with me to dinner. There was drinking, a lot, and when we came home, I told him I want to drink some more. But to my surprise, Carl said he's done for the night and went to sleep. It seemed to me that he was avoiding drinking up to the point, so I had to come up with a plan to get him drunk. I waited for a few days, and yesterday, when he came home from work, he found me drinking alone. He asked me what happened. I told him that my friend Ashley passed away. Ashley's fine. She lives in another continent. But I wanted to come up with a reason. I told her to not text or call or get in touch with Carl until I gave her the green light. Obviously, I did not tell her the reason that I was offing her in front of my hubby. Well, Carl was pretty sad for me because he knows that Ashley is a dear friend who moved away 5 years ago. In reality, me and Ashley rarely speak nowadays, but we're still friends, so I asked him to sit with me and drink, and like a caring husband he did. I have to say that I did not find out something about myself too. I'm a good actor when I need to be because he did not give even a bit suspicious about my fake sadness. He also did not notice that I was making him heavier drinks while I was drinking lightly. He kept drinking and talking with me until he slowly got to the point where he was about to black out. To confirm, I asked him a few questions, and he tried to resist telling me anything about it. But in the end, he told the truth, so I quickly asked him question after question after question. I asked him if he still loved me, and he answered, A little bit. I asked him if there was someone else in his life, and he said yes. At that point, my heart was racing, and I asked him, okay, who is it? He didn't say at first, just told me that he was more attracted to her than me, and she was prettier. Far, far, far prettier. By this time, I was already sobbing, unable to believe what I was hearing my own husband say. I then asked him who this woman was, and his answer shocked the heck out of me. He told me that the woman he was talking about was Jill. I believed he was talking about another Jill, and asked him to confirm. He confirmed that he likes my sister. He likes my sister way more than me. I asked him if he was sleeping with her, and he said that he was happily having an affair, yes, with her. I asked him when he was planning to tell me or leave me, and he said when Jill was ready, as they both were planning on building a happy life together after ditching me. It wasn't just that Jill wasn't ready and she needed some time. My husband told me that he and my sister were deeply in love with each other. I couldn't ask him anymore and let him black out at the table. I cried all night and pretended that nothing happened in front of Carl. He's at work now, and I can't believe that it was happening like this behind my back. For now, I'm not going to do anything. I'll let you guys know exactly what happens next. Update number 2. Oh boy, it's been a few days. Also, the last time I was in such a place, I forgot to tell you anything about my sister. Many of you understood it and asked me to explain how she could do this. Well, I don't exactly know why she would, but I can tell you how big of a backstabber she is. Yeah, so my sister Jill only moved back to the city close to 2 years ago. Before that, she was in another state after she left home and cut us all off. Well, why did she do that? Well, for a man, of course. What else would compel a woman to leave everything and move away from her loving family? She was in love with a guy who my parents did not like. Honestly, I didn't like him either, but I believed that I could not make a choice for Jill. She's always been the kind of person who rarely changes her mind. But I've done nothing to make her mad or jealous or for her to have any negative feelings towards me. I've actually done quite the opposite of that. She was 24, so the whole family wanted her to focus on her career instead of some deadbeat guy, but she believed he was her future. And when our parents kept trying to break them up, she had a huge fight. They kicked her out, and she cut off everyone and moved to another state. I tried contacting her, but she didn't want to speak to me either. I think she was scared that I would convince her to come back or something. She contacted me years later, and about 2 years ago moved back, and guys, guess what? What the family and I told her came out to be true. Her loving guy ended up really being a bad dude and let her suffer as soon as she found someone better. She came to me for help because she believed our parents would never help her after what she did. I was happy to help her to get her back on her feet, and she was jobless, homeless, and almost broke. I made our parents meet her, but they did not forgive her. They did say that they were willing to work on rebuilding their relationship, which made her happy. My parents owned a small property close to my place, so they let her stay there. Then I contacted a friend who gave her a good enough job. Right now, Jill has a nice home, earns really well, and is very happy. Or at least that is what I believed before I found out she was sleeping with my hubby. Now, you guys tell me, after all I did for her, why did she do this? Once again, I'm not going to sit here and only blame me. I'm already blaming Carl, but I think it's fair to ask, why did Jill do it? Jill's very pretty, much better looking than me, but still, that cannot be the reason Carl just fell for her. I did so much for Jill. I loved her even after she cut me off. But this is how she repaid me for being a good older sister? She slept with my husband, and both of them are planning to have some nice life after stabbing me in the back? But both Carl and Jill should have done what they were planning before I found out. Because now, it's too late for them. Update number 3, guys. It's been over a month, and OP has a solid plan. At this point, I cannot think about nothing more than crying and watching them burn like they've made me. I want them to hurt 10 times more than how they hurt me. Let me explain what I've done so far. Before I start, I want to say something to the people asking me not to do anything and just remove myself from the situation. Well, come on. I can't do that. I let them off so easily, and at this point, there's no saving my marriage or relationship with my sister. So why take the high road? Who else is going to get mad at me for taking revenge against people like this? Everybody will understand why I did what I did. As long as I don't go too far, I don't think anyone would complain. So please stop asking me to take the high road. There's no high road in my situation. So after my last update, I spoke with Jill to try to see if she even felt a bit of guilt after what she's done. But she acted like I was the person she cared most about in the whole world. It made me really angry, but I did not react because that was not the time to confront her. The day will come. She asked me what I was planning for my marriage anniversary that was coming up next month, and I told her, I was planning something really special. So after I decided to retaliate against them, I placed a hidden camera and, of course, audio recorders in my room, pillowcase around the house. I knew that Jill sleeps with my husband in my own room. I found it hard to believe just how much they slept together in my own house. Jill has her own home, but I guess sleeping at my place gives her some kind of thrill, which makes me wonder if she's only sleeping with Carl because he's my husband. Honestly, I don't know why they are doing what they're doing. I got full evidence of them sleeping together, and while checking the footage, I also saw the pin that my husband uses to lock his chat. When he was busy, I took his phone and used that pin. I then took photos of his chat just to have a bit of proof. I mean, come on. I already have videos of him. Duh. But I do want as much proof as I can get. The thing they said in the chats were already hard to believe, and reading the chat made me feel like I had locked Carl away from Jill. It was like I was the evil queen, had stolen her man, and she was just taking him back. Update number 4. Hey guys, yesterday was me and Carl's anniversary. Let me tell you what happened. So, because this anniversary was going to be a very special event, I invited a lot of people, not only our family and friends, but also Carl's workmates. A lot of people showed up, and Carl was wondering why I had invited a huge crowd. Everybody was enjoying the party, and both me and Carl had prepared different gifts for each other. He had several gifts he believed I would love, while I only had a prepared presentation. He gave his gift, and everybody loved it. And then it was my time, but before I started, I thanked my sister, Jill, for helping me with the planning and for always being there for me. She was smiling proudly and had no idea what I was about to do with her and Carl. I then told everyone that this presentation was going to show them the truth about what was exactly going on in my life. Then I started by showing them the screenshots of Carl and Jill's chat. Both of them looked in horror as I showed everybody how both of them spoke so easily about stabbing me in the back. They spoke about it like it was breakfast. Everyone saw how much they were in love with each other, and by the time I reached the third slide, both Jill and Carl screamed at me to stop. Carl called me a liar, and Jill asked why I was doing this. She asked why I was framing her, and she was acting very well because she believed all I had were chats. Silly. Carl immediately tried to make me look mad in front of everyone by reminding them what I had done in the restaurant with his client. I admitted that I was wrong then, but then Carl asked me to show something else instead of doctored chats. I asked him, should I really? He said yes, very confidently, so I showed everybody the video of them in my own bed. You know, coitus. I can't describe the look of absolute terror both of them had as they realized that they have been made. Jill started begging me to stop it, while Carl just kicked the projector and cut the power supply. Everybody was shocked, and before Carl could even try to explain, a few people left, and those few people were Carl's relatives and parents. He asked his father to stop and told him all this was fake, AI. He would never, ever in a million years do something like that. Well, he didn't listen to him, and he left. My dad came to Carl and asked him why he did this. I told Dad and Carl that probably just found Jill more attractive than me, and Jill did not mind destroying my marriage, and you know what? Father slapped Carl and he remained silent. Update number 5. It's been 2 months and let me tell ya. So the next day after my update, I'm sorry I left you with the cliffhanger, but anyways, I went back home to find Carl waiting to apologize to me. I told him I didn't want to hear it and kicked him out. Then I called a few buddies and threw out all of his stuff on the front yard. When he got tired of waiting for me to agree to talk to him, he left. I can't believe he thought I would forgive him after all that, and I then started the process of divorce. And I'm happy to report that I'll be officially divorced next month. And the great thing about this is I won't have to give him anything since most of the marriage he did not even earn much. Also, he slept with my sister for crying out loud, which made him enemy number 1 immediately, so it was great for me. After I kicked him out, he tried to go back to his family, but nobody took him. It was hilarious to find out that my in-laws and his brother refused to help him and cut him off. They told him that their family could not do something like this. Even his own friends refused to help him, and because of all this, he also lost his job. Turns out without me, he was bound to live a life of loser. Who knew I was the lucky charm? Or you can also say he messed up his life by what? Sleeping with his wife's sister? Yeah, both are true. Anyways, coming to Jill. When she was having a rough time about it, my parents kicked her out, I called my friend and got her fired, and I hope nobody was expecting me to show her mercy. Even if you were expecting it, I was not going to help her anymore. Guys, she got fired, and both she and Carl were left pretty much in the same condition, homeless and broke. Funny enough, both of them called me for help in the same week. It was a few weeks ago. I told both of them that I'd already freed them from my mind and relationship, and they were free to love each other. I wished them the best of luck, and I blocked them. I mean, come on. Do you blame me?